Now welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Alright, I'm going to talk about something that actually surprises me. Skeleton Crew is doing really well on Rotten Tomatoes.
Why is that a surprise?
Well, the Star Wars trend hasn't been so great. The Disney trend isn't always
What are you
so
talking about?
great.
It's
I mean, that
been
new Snow
fantastic.
White trailer dropped, and
Oh my goodness.
I think it sank the Titanic.
Those dwarves are freaky looking. What are they thinking?
I'm afraid of them.
Are they called dwarves now, or are they something else? Are they like
Snow
magical?
White and the other people.
Yeah, they are other people. Like, what are they thinking with those things?
They open their mouths and have sharp teeth.
It feels like it should be like a horror movie.
It
Yeah,
might
they
as
should have
well
like,
be.
you know, like their heads just kind of spin around and... Sorry, I'm way off target
Well,
here.
putting it into context, on the official tomato meter, the top critics, which is like 14 or some people, the top critics gave it an 86%,
Okay.
which is still certified
That's
fresh.
good, yeah.
The all critics gave it a 95%.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's like double the amount of them. And then the popcorn meter, which is the all audience who get to review on Rotten Tomatoes, which there are over 500 of them, they gave it an 83%.
It's not a ton yet.
No. But for 2 episodes of a show that apparently nobody is watching?
Well, I mean, a couple hundred people reviewing it is not exactly like...
Yes, but on Rotten Tomatoes, when things go hard, they go hard.
Well, when things are bad,
Acolyte
people
comes
come
out
of
and
the
it was
woods,
like,
yeah.
bleh, plummets.
I don't know. Like I've said before, I'm going to be very curious to see the ratings. I did a poll. I'll probably do a video on that tomorrow asking people, what did you think of the first 2 episodes? And one of the options is, are you watching it? And like 69% said no currently.
I'm going to be interested to see when it comes out on like the Nielsen ratings to see what's going on there.
No, I'm very...
Where does this line
very
up? Are
curious.
people watching this? Or do people decide Disney wrote it off as a kid's show, so they're out?
I mean,
Or
not
did
to
the
be...
Acolyte ruin it?
Yeah, not to be pessimistic, but to just try to have a discussion. I do wonder if the reason why it seems to be received so positively is because the people who may be prone to be negative towards it just don't care.
That could be a possibility, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I don't know who has reviewed it out there or who is talking about. I don't tend to follow Star Wars YouTubers. I know that sounds funny, but I don't know, or the similar kind of, you know,
Right.
the crowd who would review this. So I have no idea if they're on this at all or bashing it or praising it or what's going
They're
on
not
with it.
bashing it.
Okay.
I can tell you that.
Okay.
I know things. I am sailing
Yeah, you follow more of that than I do.
I watch everything.
I just kind of, I focus on what I do and I don't really...
I know.
Hey, more power to all the other Star Wars YouTubers out there. I just do my own thing.
Well, it's kind of nice when everyone has their own independent opinions.
Yeah, that's kind of why
And
I
that's
do
why
it.
you kind of keep yourself
Yes.
pure.
Yes. That is exactly what I do.
But I think it's interesting because I think what helps it, in a sense, is it's so far removed from being anything like the Acolyte. So
It is. It is maybe the opposite of the... Whereas the Acolyte is kind of... And let's not talk too much about the Acolyte.
No, I don't
know,
really want
but
to.
The Acolyte is a very kind of moralistically gray, kind of shaded towards the bad guys and not really quote-unquote fun. Whereas this is
fun.
like, here's your group of kids. They're the good guys and the bad, evil pirates. They're, you know...
For the most part, the kids are pretty likable.
Yeah.
They have their little quirks,
They're
but they're
alright,
kids,
yeah.
so that's fine. I like that the Acolyte was billed as a mystery, though, and
This is
this
a
show's
better
like,
mystery?
look, there's a mystery, and
Yeah.
we know we're going to get an answer to it because it's actually central to the story. They've pointed out
Wow.
too much for it to not be.
Well, I mean, don't
To
test a
get some
Lucasfilm.
They have way
Don't test
way
them.
too much. They've literally said that this is an eternal treasure planet. We have to find. They can't not explain
Don't.
that. It can't just be like, well, we got the kids home. Forget that there's some sort of mystery with their planet,
You're giving Lucasfilm too much credit.
because the kids would want an answer to that too.
I know. I'm sure we're going to get an answer, but it is ironic that Acolyte was billed as a mystery, and this is I'm more intrigued by the by the quote unquote kids fun show than I was about
it's fun. Let's talk about something else that was fun in the show. So John Watts and Christopher Ford talked with StarWars.com about their tribute to the holiday special.
Oh yes, I called it too. That's
You
what I thought it was going to be.
You did.
Yeah.
You said it was going to be the little
I did.
circus. And
Yep.
it was. And I love that they put it in there because it fits. It just fits in there seamlessly
It's-
because they're using it to entertain a bunch of like little babies.
Yeah, speaking of mysteries, like now we're like, is that just a circus, like Cirque du Soleil? Is it just like a famous circus across the galaxy
Seeing
that
as the holiday
travels, or is it
special
like,
is not canon,
oh, it's
not-
canon in this heart right here?
but other than you want
No, I'm
that
kidding.
to no.
Goodness.
Okay, but seeing as it's not canon, all they did was make this little acrobat thing canon.
That's true.
And that's okay.
That's true. I was thinking of it as canon and like though I still have questions about it. I want to know more details about it now.
I have some details, but they're probably not what you want.
I'm sure Marvel is writing a comic book series on it right now because that's what Marvel just takes like obscure references from the films and shows. Like, we're doing a full-blown thing on this.
I mean, the holiday special did air in 1978 on CBS, and everyone hated it. The reception was so bad that it was never, ever re-aired on the TV on cable.
Or spoken of again by George Lucas.
Yeah, the only ways to watch it is to find it on YouTube.
Yes.
The only thing you can find on Disney Plus that was a part of it is you can actually find the Boba Fett part.
The cartoon.
It was put up on Disney Plus.
First appearance of Boba. Actually, the first appearance of him was like in a parade, but let's not get into details.
I mean, there were plenty of things in there. I mean, this sequence of the holographic circus performers, acrobats, Chewbacca's son Lumpy watched, and they decided they wanted to recreate that scene, and they used it in such a clever way by
it was good.
Look, it's entertaining some little kids. It's like them watching YouTube for kids. It's cute. But it was funny because the first thing that Watts said after he decided to use the scene is like, I was worried at some point we were going to get this call that you can't do that. But everyone was into it, so I was really surprised.
I'm surprised George didn't call. Like, let's be honest,
Ring,
George
ring.
Isn't watching Skeleton Crew because I don't think George...
Put it back in the box.
Yeah, but if he did, or if he may have heard about it because everybody infamously knows how much he hated that. So I'm curious what his reaction or response would be to that.
I'm curious too.
He probably would laugh at it. Let's be real. George seems to be a pretty chillax kind of guy most of the time.
Then Ford kind of wanted to talk about how fans discovering like obscure pieces of Star Wars media compares thematically to the characters in Skeleton Crew. He said, for me, this is a thematic thing for the show because for us as kids, we grew up with a certain amount of Star Wars, but you always wanted to know more. You always wanted to find out stuff. And so there's the feeling our characters... that's the feeling the characters have going into the Star Wars universe. It just fits.
Yeah. I think they're trying to be... It's very meta, and maybe that's off-putting to some. And like I said, I still... The first episode, a little too Earth-like.
But it's okay now. Second episode fixed a lot of
that. Doesn't mean it's bad. Just because I say I didn't necessarily think that was the greatest thing ever doesn't mean I hate it. That's the problem with... everything has to be one way or another. No, I was just like, it could have been a little more alien. I think would have been fine. But I understand what you're going for. You're trying to speak to those kids who were from the 80s, who dreamed of finding the starship and learning more about the Star Wars galaxy or being surprised by it, or the kids of today who put themselves in their shoes. Yeah, I totally get that.
Well, Watts actually wanted to use the real footage, the actual footage from the special for this sequence.
I think that would be burned years ago,
but it was more difficult than he anticipated. He said... It was shot such a long time ago, and the angles were all wrong. So we went and got the original wardrobe sketches and rebuilt all the costumes from scratch.
Cool.
So they actually had to recreate the entire thing from scratch because they didn't have angles. So they actually had to make the old costumes, put people in them, and have them redo the whole little sequence.
Nice. I'm glad to know it lives on.
It does. It lives on. Somebody now is like, I'm the guy who was in that circus.
Yeah. They recreated something from the holiday special. They
also had to recreate the score because there was no official copy of the original soundtrack anywhere.
Well, why would there be? Like, George literally wanted this thing wiped off the face of the planet from memory and everything.
Watts said, we couldn't find a copy of the written score, so we had to give it to our composer, Mick Giacchino, who had to then transcribe it, figure out what instruments they were playing, and then re-record that.
They're Star Wars instruments, though.
Ford said, and then we also did that with a full orchestra. I think the musicians got a kick out of it.
You did that with Why? Why did you go that far?
Why not? If you're going to pay homage to the holiday special, you remake the costumes, you recast the cast, you remake the music, and you do a full orchestra.
The great part is even doing all that, and like we've seen, it looks like we're going to some unique planets and some cool stuff in this series from trailers and commercials. It's probably going to be like a third of the price of the Acolyte for the show, and they're just going all in.
You know that Disney probably recorded the entire thing and they'll release it?
Yeah, probably.
The
why
whole
not?
thing. Why not?
I want to see the whole performance.
Well, on that note, I mean, remember the trailer music? They played that Major Tom?
Yes.
And everyone loved it, but I was so happy Star Wars actually released a music video with the whole song, and I've heard it so many times. Yeah.
Yeah, so have I now.
Youngie Wim, Bunky Dunka.
Yeah.
It's so fun, and they replaced Earth with At-Atten.
Yes. I know. I've heard it.
Yeah. Give me some time. I'll know all the words.
You're going to be singing
Huttese. But no, it's a really fun song.
Sure, it's fun.
And
fine.
now I'm like, the next step, my prediction is they're going to give us the entire circus scene. Why record the whole score with a full orchestra if you're not giving it to us? This is their Christmas present. Happy Life Day.
Oh my goodness. Happy Life Day
Happy
indeed.
Life Day.
Which is ironically also from the holiday special.
Bingo.
They were all trying to get to Chewbacca's home to celebrate Life Day, but the Empire was, no, we can't let you do that.
Ha! Ha!
Anyway, speaking of holidays, it's the next day of the Advent calendar.
And today we had a Y-Wing.
Y-Wing,
A miniature Y-Wing.
Very miniature, very basic looking
small.
Y. Yeah, very.
I stared at it for a while and went...
You yelled like, I don't even know what this is. I'm like, that's a Y-Wing. You got to squint and...
You squint a little bit and there it is.
Yeah,
It's a Y-Wing.
Now you can see it. Yes.
I don't like that they give you extra pieces because they assume that you're a child and that you're going to lose some of the small pieces. I haven't lost any of the small pieces, so I just have a bag of small pieces.
Yes. Which at the end of the...
There's no way you can
we're
build
going to
anything out
reassemble
of a
them
lot
into
of them.
something. Oh, we're going to build something.
You can't. Most of them are like one peg.
That's enough.
It's not enough.
I think that's enough for now, though, because that's all we got for this time. So take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news. Do you want to see the full Cirque du Star Wars?
Star Wars du Soleil.
Yes. Whatever the case may be, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.